Yeah, here we go. Happy Tuesday. Welcome into another edition of the Joe Ranieri Show, brought to you by a whole bunch of quality capping services, quality people, quality car dealerships. Why? Because we deal in quality here on the show, not to mention the unbelievable quality of the folks who spend time with us here hanging out in the chat room, like Vari, already hanging out with us in the house, uwager.eu, which is the only place where we go ahead and place our bets, wagertalk.com. Want to thank those guys. Of course, trendybets.com, who nailed it again yesterday. All right, if you guys are not catching the trendybets.com NBA free play of the day on this show, you are leaving money, okay, out on the table. Don't know why you're doing it. These guys have been straight fire on these free plays on this show. They've hit, I believe, 4 out of the last 5, and we've got another one coming for you. You guys know, right around 5:15 today, we'll go ahead and give you that free play of the day, courtesy of trendybets.com. Miami Acura, want to thank those guys very much for supporting the Joe Ranieri Show and making us a part of their family. We've got all sorts of new information about some of the deals, end-of-the-year deals coming your way from Miami Acura, and one of the newest supporters and sponsors here on the show, halftimemagic.com, and we'll tell you more about them as we move along in the program here. But we've got an awful lot to get to here today. How many of you are dragging ass today because you were up until 12:30 last night watching the Rams and the Chiefs play absolutely no defense whatsoever? How many of you, honestly? Now, how many of you watched that game last night and your reaction was, that was the greatest game I've ever seen? Sil, what's going on, brother? Good to see you joining us in the YouTube chat room. How many of you said it? I mean, how many of you tweeted it out? How many of you went on Facebook or social media? How many of you classified last night's game as the best game that you've ever seen, that you got your money's worth? Raise your hand, because there was a lot of you there. And the reason I ask is because that was the most entertaining football game that we have ever seen. An instant classic from an entertaining standpoint. As far as a football game goes, that was the biggest bag of shit game I have ever seen in my entire life. I couldn't have been less impressed with the football in that game. Entertaining? Hell yeah. If you like scoring, and I mean, what'd they put up? 104 points. If you guys love scoring, that game was about as entertaining as you can get. You are not going to get 3.5 hours, 4 hours of better entertainment than what you got. You don't even have to be a diehard football fan. If you guys watched that game last night, then you got definitely some entertainment value on a Monday night. It's just a shame you have to watch it with the sound off, because between Jason Witten rather, and Booger McFarland and Joe Tessitore, I just basically want to take, you guys ever have corn on the cob and you take those things that you put on the end of the corn, right, so you can eat it? Those are the things. I don't even know, what do you call them? Corn what? Something corn. I want to take it and I want to shove it in my ears every time the three of them open their damn mouth. So it's unfortunate we didn't have a better crew to actually enjoy the game with, but we deal with what we have to deal with on Monday Night Football. But I thought that was one of the worst football games I had. It was actually probably the worst football game I have ever seen. And maybe it's just me, but the idea that, and when you look at the numbers, let me make sure I have the numbers correct here. All right, because I don't want to miss anything, but because it was staggering what had happened there and the amount of points last night. If you guys didn't hear, and you guys didn't hear Joe Tessitore say it about 342 times, that was the most points ever scored on a Monday night game. I don't know why I don't have the I don't know why I don't have the numbers here in front of me, and I apologize for that. But needless to say, they broke just about every offensive record in the world. They scored 105 points. I mean, it was terrible. Oh, here it is. I apologize for that. Let's see what we got here. 6 lead changes, 4 in the fourth quarter. 2 teams combined for 1,001 yards, 105 points, third most ever scored in a single game. The over hit with 2 minutes and 24 seconds left in the third. It was exceeded by 41 points. The over-under went off at 64, which is the highest for any game since 1986. It keeps going on and on and on, the amount of records that were broken in this game. And I'm sorry. Yes, if you like offense, it was great. But that was not football last night. Not to me, anyway. Not to, and I kept saying as I'm watching it with my father last night, and I'm going, somewhere along the line, if I'm Lawrence Taylor or Mike Singletary, if I'm anybody, any member of the 85 Bears who still knows who they are, if I'm Carl Banks, or if I'm the Giants defense, I'm looking at that game last night and I'm going, you've got to be kidding me. Like, you've got to be kidding me. I'm all for offense being really good and high-powered, and I get that. But neither one of those teams defensively can stop anybody. And instead of watching what I felt like was an NFL game, I felt like I was watching MAC action football, which we're going to get to a little bit later here in the show. I felt like it was Tecmo Bowl, and everybody was using, Bo Jackson to score a touchdown every time, and that wasn't football to me. I mean, I love it, but the problem with the NFL is that it's getting to the point where we're getting more and more of these 40, 50-point games, and they're becoming less exciting to me because they're happening more and more often. I don't know if that makes sense to you. The reason that I love 75, 85, 95-yard two-play touchdown drives, the reason those are so exciting is because they don't happen very often. At least they didn't. But now they're happening all the time. And that's an issue for me. I mean, this doesn't resemble, from the amount of penalty flags thrown last night, the roughing the passer calls, the ticky-tack fouls. Nothing about the NFL today resembles anything about the game that I fell in love with. And I want to know from you guys if I'm the only one here. I mean, did you guys truly think that was a great game last night, a football game? I know it was entertaining, but I mean, were you expecting any sort of defense? It just, to every great defensive player that ever played the game, watching that last night had to be nauseating, had to be one of the hardest things in the world to do. The Denver Broncos a few years ago. How about the Ravens? If you're Ray Lewis and you're Ed Reed and you're the Ravens, watching those two teams go at it like that and play and just lay down and play no defense and have nothing, just to the point where whoever has the ball last is going to win. I mean, that's fun every now and then, but to me, it's happening way too often in the NFL, and I think if that's the direction the league is going, eventually it's going to do more harm than good, because I do think you're going to turn off more people in the long run than you will maybe introduce into the game. And that's what I'm asking you. I know he's still also saying very entertaining. Vari, man, it really did. It looked like a Big 12 football game. It looked like Oklahoma. All right, anybody that's been following the Sooners this year, Oklahoma is fantastic. They can score 70 points, but they give up 65. It was like Bedlam. Like, I don't want to see Bedlam on a Monday night in the NFL. I don't want to see that. Like, I don't. I mean, even the Buffalo Bills defense, okay? The Buffalo Bills can't score. They have no offense. We know that. But you know what? The defense shows up at least. Neither one of these two teams, for the amount of first-round draft picks that we kept hearing about last night, that was the other big thing. Like, we got 4 or 5 number 1 draft picks on the front 7 of the Rams. You got 4 or 5 number 1 draft picks, and you got torched for 6 touchdowns? You got torched for 600 yards of offense? And you're telling me, well, this is the first time it's ever happened in the NFL where the front 7 of the Rams has got 6 number 1, first-round draft picks, 6 first-round draft picks. And you got torched for 600 yards. Like, I don't get it. I mean, there's just so many things about that game last night that turned me off. I loved the excitement. It was fun. But honestly, if that game was on Sunday and I had other options to watch, there's probably a good chance I would have just turned that off and been like, all right, let me know when the final 2 minutes of the game is, because that's it. I mean, there wasn't even a chance that there was ever going to be a big defensive stop. I mean, late in the game in the fourth quarter, I think, Kansas City, there was 2 punts in a row, and everyone was like, oh, my God, they punted twice. I mean, there was no chance either one of those defenses was going to stop anybody, and NFL, I think that's going to be a problem moving forward. It could be me, but I want to get your thoughts on it, because let me tell you something. What did you guys think of the ratings last night? What did you think the ratings were going to be? Did you figure that, the highly pushed, the highly touted Rams, Chiefs, the 2 supposed best teams in the NFL, the 2 offensive juggernauts doing battle, did you figure that was going to set all sorts of records last night from a rating standpoint? Yeah, it didn't. Okay? As a matter of fact, the previous Monday night game between the Packers and the Patriots, that had more eyeballs on it than last night's Rams-Chiefs game. So, and I know ESPN and others are not happy about that in the business right now, but that was not a big ratings juggernaut. And I'm telling you, no defense, you start looking like like the Big 12. You start looking like the Big 12 in college football where, it's 75-63. You got 105 points scored, 0 defense. Yeah, it's not nearly as enticing as some people would lead you to believe. But that last night, 15.6 for Rodgers and Brady. And last night, just over an 11 share for 2 teams that put up 105 points. Now, why is that? And I think that's my question for you guys here today. Joining us in the chat rooms there, Vori and Hesil and Steph and Villaman. I want to know from you guys. Is that the kind of NFL that do you think that's quality football? And why is it that you think the ratings weren't even close to what Brady and Rodgers did the week prior? Now, granted, Brady and Rodgers were on broadcast television. I think that was the CBS game. This was on ESPN, so there is going to be some cord cutting and, millennials not ordering cable packages at all, much less anything that involves having ESPN for an extra $23 a month. So that's going to factor into it. But, I mean, that's a significant difference. You're talking about a 4, almost 5 share difference between these 2 games. And all people have been talking about are the Rams and Chiefs since about week 7. And you had all sorts of pregame historical numbers with the over and the under and the betting, the take-in on this game last night, which, by the way, Vegas lost their ass last night because, what did we say, the over? The over was 64. It was the highest for any game since 1986. And the over hit with 2 minutes and 24 seconds left. And I can tell you right now, Joe Public, if they make one bet all year, Joe Public went out and bet the over on that game last night. So Vegas had a hard time. They got pretty beat up last night. Yeah, I mean, do you like that? Do you like that? I'm thinking if I'm Khalil Mack and I'm that Chicago Bears defense who I watched the Chicago Bears and the Minnesota Vikings game on Sunday night. I don't know if you guys caught it yourselves, but, Chicago can play some defense. Minnesota can play some defense. And it's not as if Minnesota's got a bunch of scrubs on there. They've got some potent weapons on that team too, but that was a more enjoyable game, I think, on certain levels to watch than what we witnessed last night. And I think the more games we get like that, The more games that we continue to see play out like we did last night, I think we're in trouble in the NFL. I don't think that's the answer, and that's the direction you want to go. No defense is not an enjoyable experience as far as I'm concerned as a football fan. That was just, and a flag every 3 seconds too. That was another thing. That, and keep in mind, I don't know if you guys watched, but last night that referee crew, was brought in. They were brought in last minute. It was supposed to be an all-star crew. The NFL actually brought in different guys from different officiating crews, the guys that are supposed to be rated the highest, kind of like a playoff game. That's what they do in the playoffs, is they brought in a guy from this crew, a guy from that crew. They brought in supposedly the best of the best for that game last night. And what did we get? We got a flag every 3 seconds there. It was, you get a flag, you get a flag, he's got a flag, everyone got a flag. It was one of the worst officiated games I think I've ever seen. And that was an all-star crew, okay? That was what the NFL brought in last minute there. And they sucked. They sucked beyond sucked. And with as many flags as they threw, you still got yourself 105 points. You still got 105 points. So that's my question to you guys here today. Joining us in the chat rooms. Also, you can hit us up via the Miami Acura hotline up on the screen there. That would be 855-983-2255. That's 855-983-2255. That is how you reach us into the studio. I want to get your thoughts on last night's game. Was it great? Did you enjoy it? Do you want to see more games like that? Or does the utter lack of any defense nauseate you? What's going to happen if these two teams, forget about throwing New Orleans in, by the way. What is going to happen when you get New Orleans into it? Suppose it's New Orleans instead of the Rams. Now, at least New Orleans has a shot at playing some defense, okay? They got a little bit better defense, I think, than either one of those two teams last night. But what are we talking about? An over of 76 for a Super Bowl? I mean, really? And I got to think that if it was the New England Patriots last night, that I don't know. To me, some of the more well-coached teams and some of the better defensive teams in the NFL, they got to look at that game and go, really, Kansas City? Really, Rams? That's what you brought to the table? I mean, embarrassing. Just absolutely embarrassing. I remember the, Lawrence Taylors of the world going up against Joe Montana and some of the, the highest potent offenses in the world. Even, listen, the 18-0 New England Patriots, when they went up against that Giants squad, they were putting up ridiculous, what were they averaging, 38, 40 points a game? And then all of a sudden they hit a quality defense in the New York Giants, who weren't that great offensively. They were good. They weren't great. But that defense, was able to stop Tom Brady and Randy Moss and company to win that Super Bowl. I don't see either one of that happening with these two teams. And I just worry that the more we see of that, the less entertaining it's going to be. It really is, because it was college football last night. It was video game on many levels. So that's what I want to know. I want to get your guys' thoughts on that. We are loaded here today, as usual. And coming up, you guys know the routine here. Coming up in just about 15, actually, I'm sorry, bottom of the hour. We've got your TrendyBets.com NBA play of the day. We started a little bit late today. We'll have your TrendyBets.com play of the day. Also, we're going to try to get the captain on, at captain_and-capping. Why? There's MAC football tonight. 2 games, and nobody knows MAC football like the captain. So at captain_capping, we're going to bring him on, get his thoughts about those games tonight. But first, I want to introduce you to a really great guy, part of the wagertalk.com family. He is a specialist, and we pride ourselves on this show bringing you only the best, guys. And he specializes in golf wagering. And the reason that that's so special is many of you may not realize, but Tiger Woods and Phil Mickelson have a $9 million match coming up this Friday. It's on pay-per-view for $19.99 or $19.95 or something along those lines. But Tiger Woods and Phil are getting ready to do battle at Shadow Creek Golf Course in Las Vegas. and there's a bunch of prop bets available. There's actually some really cool bets available. So I wanted to bring Brady Cannon on, who's going to join us here in just a couple of minutes via the Miami Acura hotline. Brady specializes in betting on golf, and I want to find out from him, what are some of the bets we should be looking at? How do you bet on golf, all right? And how does he see it? How do you see Tiger matching up against Phil, and what do you bet? If you bet, what do you bet on this? Because let's all be realistic. We're going to be stuck with a bunch of relatives that we haven't seen all year, that we, in all likelihood, we don't like. So it would be great to have something like, hey man, I can't hang out here. I got some money on Phil or Tiger. I got to go. It's a match. It's money. So I'd like to stay and continue to eat crumb cake with you and pretend like I give a shit what's coming out of your mouth. But honestly, I've got a bet on the game. So we'd all like that on Friday, right? So that's what's going to happen here with Tiger Woods and Phil Mickelson. So coming up, we're going to talk to Brady Cannon from wagertalk.com and get his thoughts on who he likes and who he doesn't like and what we should be betting in this first time. I mean, this is the first event of its kind. Pay-per-view, $20, $19.99. And you get to see two of the game's all-time greatest, Phil and Tiger, do battle. So this will be fun. But first, before we get to Brady, I want to remind you guys and thank our good friends at Miami Acura for being part of the show, being part of the family. 855-564-4669. That's how you reach Miami Acura. Take a test drive the all-new 2019 RDX. Why do I say that? Because the deals right now are out of control. That is correct. The all-new 2019 completely redesigned RDX at prices we have never, ever seen, especially all year long. And even if it's not a new car that you're in the market for, maybe it's a certified pre-owned car, nobody's got better deals than the fine folks at Miami Acura. So don't do anything on the car buying front here this holiday season without first going to Miami Acura. Check them out, miamiacura.com, South Dixie Highway for those of you in the 305, or you can call, set up an appointment, 855-564-4669. That's 855-564-4669. 69. You guys you're going to thank me when you do this, I can tell you right now, because I've never seen prices this low. Your first chance, maybe your only chance for the rest of the year to finally get that car that you've always wanted, only at a price you never thought possible. That's what's happening at Miami Acura. Hit them up, miamiacura.com, and get ready, 5:30. We've got your trendybets.com NBA free play of the day. You don't want to miss it. It's like free money, guys. Well, guys, it is Tuesday, and as our promise to you, always to bring you nothing but the best, we are doing that again today as Brady Cannon from wagertalk.com. He joins us via the Miami Acura hotline, and he's the best because one of his specialties happens to be the Tiger Woods-Phil Mickelson match that's coming up Friday. I know there's been some buzz. You might have heard about it but forgot about it. But there is actually plenty of opportunity for the sports bettor to have some fun this holiday weekend. And let's face it, you're going to be stuck with a whole bunch of relatives that you only see once a year. You probably don't like them anyway. So what a perfect excuse to be able to get away and be like, listen, I got money on Tiger here. Like, I got to go. I'd like to hang out here and eat cake with you, but really, I've got to leave. So, Brady, thank you for taking a few minutes out and saving countless amounts of people who will be stuck with relatives they don't like this holiday season.
Absolutely. If I can assist in bringing some people some happiness over this weekend and escape to some golf or whatever, then more than happy to help.
I'm so glad. All right, first, let me start here, Brady. For those that don't know, a lot of people, and I've been talking to folks this week, they didn't even realize that you can bet on golf and that there's, is it just prop bets they didn't know? Is there a way to look at it? So give us, just for those that may not know about golf and betting on golf, give us a kind of overview of what we're looking at here.
Yeah, there's actually a number of ways to bet on golf, and the simplest form is just the futures market, and that would be like picking which football team before the season starts is going to win the Super Bowl, okay? And you've got odds on each football team. Well, before each golf tournament, there's 150 some guys in the tournament, and they may have all 150 on the board. They may have, about 80 guys listed or so. But there'll be a price on each player to win the tournament. You're going to find Jason Day and Jordan Spieth and Dustin Johnson, Ricky Fowler. They're all the favorites at very short odds, anywhere from 10 to 15 to 20 to 1, and all the way down to 500 to 1 with some of the bigger long shots. So you've got that market, of course, which most people probably understand. But I tell you, one of the most popular formats or ways to bet golf are head-to-head matchups. And these are fictional matchups that the odds maker will create. So you look at a field for a golf tournament, and you've got Tiger Woods and Dustin Johnson and Phil Mickelson and, on down the line, all these guys that are involved in this tournament. And the odds maker will create, again, like I say, a fictional matchup. Let's say Jordan Spieth against Webb Simpson. And Jordan Spieth will be the favorite at minus 135. And that is whoever finishes the lowest for the 4 days of the tournament wins that match. So I prefer that type of golf betting because you're handicapping Team A versus Team B. It's much like trying to figure out who's going to win, the Patriots or the Steelers. Will it be Jordan Spieth or Webb Simpson? For me, that is a much easier handicap than trying to pick one guy out of 150 who's going to win the event. And then you have prop bets, as you mentioned, make or miss the cut, who's going to hit the longest drive, all kinds of stuff like that. So golf betting is actually quite fun, and you think of, watching golf on TV and the golf clap and the mundane announcer voice, but when you've got a little action, I tell you, it adds quite a bit to golf viewing because they go from shot to shot to shot, player to player to player, and you can be in action constantly in watching a golf broadcast.
Brady Cannon joining us here via the Miami Acura hotline. Not only will you see him at wagertalk.com, but also on the brand new gambling network, VSiN. He is a contributor there. And maybe one of my favorite parts about what you do is that if anybody is planning on heading to Las Vegas and maybe getting a round of golf, he does also work with Tee Times USA, which will help you be able to get those tee times in Las Vegas. Make sure that you guys visit him at Las Vegas Golfer on Twitter. Really great follow there. And Brady, before we start getting into some of the lines and what we see, who's the favorite and where we're at there on the numbers, let's talk about the future of what we're about to see here on Friday between Phil and Tiger. Is this, listen, Tiger Woods is, if he's not aged out, he's going to be aged out, and golf has got to find a new way of reinventing themselves because the young guys, as good as they are, the Jordan Spieths, the Rory McIlroys, the Dustin Johnsons, they are not Tiger Woods. And Tiger's kind of like that Halley's Comet, but golf's got to do something to keep themselves in the forefront and keep viewership and ratings up. Is this the future of golf? Is this what we are looking at here on Friday?
Boy, I tell you what, I hope it is, man. I think it would be so fun. And you're right in what you say. Golf is in a very good place. With how many good players are in the game right now, it's absolutely amazing. That you look at the top. You remember, Joe. When Tiger was dominant, it was Tiger and Phil and Vijay Singh and Ernie Els and David Duval, and then whoever else was around, you didn't even know. But now, it's 30, 40, 50 players deep of just outstanding, phenomenal, big-name headline guys. Adam Scott, he won the Masters not too long ago. He's like 60th best in the world now. The competition is so strong. Golf is in a good spot. But you're right. It is going to take something avant-garde, if you will. Tiger Woods is generational, certainly. And this match play that they're doing, I think, is really exciting. I don't know if pay-per-view is the way to go, but if they can, get started here. And, can you imagine, once a month we had a different matchup and it was Rory against Spieth and then it was DJ against Tommy Fleetwood. That would, I think, really be entertaining. And you've got Phil and Tiger playing for $9 million, these guys could make a year's salary in one match.
Yes, and I don't want to, because I'm not giving away my age. This was still before my time, but they used to do something. Brady, who is who understands golf, who likes the history of golf, I'm assuming here, Brady, but they used to have those shell one-on-one matches back in the days in the 50s, the 60s, and the 70s, where you'd have Arnold Palmer going up against Jack or Gary Player. They would do those things, those one-on-one matches like that, and I'm glad this is kind of what that is. It's kind of a toss back to what they used to do then, winner take all, but only I think the stakes are much, much higher here. But golf did used to do this in a way.
You're absolutely right. The shell wonderful world of golf, and I'm not sure what kind of money was involved, if any. I think it was more of an exhibition type thing, but I'd love to see it take the next step, and obviously Tiger and Phil is the perfect place to start if we're going to do more of this type of thing. Yeah, no,
like you said, it would be so much more fun than watching the Who Gives a Crap Open, on a weekend in June or July. So I do think that they're heading in the right direction. Brady Cannon joining us, wagertalk.com. All right, let's talk about some of the numbers that we've got going on here, Brady. For instance, we'll start right off the top. It looks like Tiger is listed as a pretty big favorite, -200 in a bunch of the books. Phil is looking at +170 as the underdog. So being the gambler that you are, you look at these two numbers right off the bat. Is there value in Phil Mickelson at +170?
I think there absolutely is value in Phil Mickelson. Yeah, I think that price is way off. And I'll tell you exactly, the evolution of that price. When this match was first announced, I said it was going to be pick'em. And this was at a point, I want to say this was announced maybe back in April or so, maybe not long. It was probably after that, maybe in the summer, June, July, something like that. And both players were playing basically equal. I think you could make a real case that Phil was playing much better than Tiger. And I said this match should pick him. Now, the sports books in Las Vegas opened it up at Tiger -130. And that is absolutely understandable because I tell you what, Joe, you could have a bass fishing competition at Lake Mead with Tiger Woods involved, and they would bet on him hand over fist. So it doesn't matter what Tiger Woods is involved in. The public will bet Tiger and bet more and more and more until they are blue in the face. So making him -130 protects the books a little bit because they know no matter what, they're going to take Tiger action. So that price made sense as well. Then you had a change in how these guys were playing. We all saw Tiger Woods come down the stretch, eventually win the Tour Championship, contended at the PGA Championship. He was getting very, very hot, and Phil Mickelson was absolutely cooling off. So it has jumped all the way up to -200. I even saw -210. Before this match goes off, it might go higher, but I absolutely think there is value in Phil Mickelson. These guys are not that far apart to make Tiger Woods better than a 2-1 favorite.
Brady Cannon joining us, wagertalk.com. Also, you will hear and see him on VSiN, the Vegas Sports Network, also a contributor there when it comes to golf. And Brady, let's talk a little bit about this golf course. For those of you that are just joining us, Tiger Woods, Phil Mickelson, this Friday, Shadow Creek Golf Course in, you guessed it, Brady's neck of the woods, Las Vegas. So talk to us a little bit about Shadow Creek, how this course sets up, and who does it actually favor with these two guys?
That's a great question, Joe. And Shadow is absolutely a remarkable place. It's been ranked in the top 10 golf courses in America before. Steve Wynn built it with Tom Fazio many years ago, probably in the neighborhood of 18 years ago now. But it is certainly the best course in Las Vegas, and like I say, one of the best in the United States. It's a $70 million project, again, some 18, 20 years ago that this course cost to build. It's absolutely remarkable, and I could do another 2 hours with you just on Shadow Creek. But Tiger certainly has the course advantage because he's played there famously many times over the years with the likes of Michael Jordan and Charles Barkley, and Tiger has absolutely been a frequent visitor to Shadow Creek, much more so than Phil Mickelson. So he'll have the course knowledge advantage. It's a very traditional course, tree-lined. It really looks like you're in the hills of North Carolina. Tiger is quoted in the clubhouse saying the greens remind him of Augusta with the shadows and the speed. So it's absolutely a fantastic property and one that people will want to watch on TV. Now, while Tiger may have a course advantage, I believe Phil has an advantage from a gambling standpoint. We know Mickelson is very well versed in the gambling annals of America, and maybe infamously has played in a number of matches, both in his hometown of San Diego and on the Wednesday, Tuesday practice rounds before PGA Tour events. Phil always has money on the line and is very adept at playing with that kind of pressure. So. And I don't believe Tiger as much. So I think Phil may have an advantage from that standpoint. But and also as far as the course setup, Joe, I think they're going to set it up pretty easy. They're going to allow these guys to make birdies. If you look at Phil and Tiger, both of their weakness is accuracy off the tee. Shadow Creek is not an extremely narrow golf course. They're going to make it wide open. They're not going to grow the rough up real high. These guys are going to be able to rip the ball around the yard and not get into too much trouble and make a lot of birdies. It may come down to a putting contest, and Phil Mickelson over the course of this year in the PGA Tour has been the better putter. So I can't wait to watch it. I think there's a lot of different ways you can try and handicap this thing, but I think in the end it'll be pretty close.
Talk to us, and it's funny, I was going to say, it sounds like it's a banger's course, so you don't necessarily need to be dead straight down off the tee, but if they're not going to grow the rough, are we looking at, Shinnecock-type greens here, or are they going to make them relatively easy for what this is?
I think they'll be pretty fast. Players like fast greens. I don't think they're going to be an Augusta National fast, but they will certainly be at a nice speed, I'm sure. They're pretty big putting surfaces. They do have some undulation. I've played Shadow Creek twice, and Tiger actually holds the course record. That's worth mentioning as well.
Wow.
Tiger shot a 60 here many years ago. And that actually was tied not long after that by Fred Couples. Fred Couples and Tiger Woods have both shot 60 at Shadow Creek.
Yeah, and both of those guys we certainly know. Well, we know Fred doesn't mind participating in a little side action either, which brings me to my next point. Chances are, no matter what we have ongoing, no matter what bets that we place as sports bettors and viewers, chances are these two are going to have a little side action going on, aren't they?
Oh, absolutely. And Mickelson has come out and said that when Tiger's standing over a putt, he's going to say 50,000, you miss it, and that type of thing. No, he really has 50,000 that I can outdrive you on this hole and this and that and the other. So now it's going to be fun to watch, and I think these guys are going to be encouraged to kind of yuck it up and trash talk and make this fun for the viewers.
I see some of the prop bets they have. For instance, Tiger, if he's going to win here, they've got him. Tiger 1 up plus 750, 2 and 1 6 to 1, 2 up 12 to 1. So, is there some value if you're going to bet Phil to win this? Where would you look, and what kind of range do you think? Well, either one of these guys, is it going to be 2 and 3, 3 and 2? Where do you think it's going to be?
Well, I think it's going to be pretty close, and I think whether you're going to choose to bet Tiger or Phil, I don't think it's going to be a blowout. So 1 up, 2 and 1. I think you're right in that neighborhood. I'll tell you, one of the prop bets I took a hard look at. Will there be extras? And that means, like overtime. If they are tied after 18 holes, then they will play extra holes. And I know it's often a sucker bet to say, in the Super Bowl, will there be overtime? And the yes is like plus 800 because it never happens. Well, I have a feeling this has a good chance to go extra holes, and these guys could play a part in wanting it to go extra holes. And the broadcast would certainly love it to go to a sudden death overtime, that type of thing. And the yes on will it go extra holes is plus 700.
Wow.
That's a big price. I think this thing could be that close, it does have a chance to go to overtime, if you will.
Wow. And the 1995 price, did it always open up at 1995, Brady, or did they lower the price as expectations maybe were a little bit high in the beginning?
No, yeah, 1999, 1995, whatever it is, $20. But yeah, I don't believe the price has changed.
Okay.
As far as I know, that's exactly what it is.
All right, so there you go. If you got nothing else going on over the holidays, you want to find yourself a little amusement. I think it's going to be fun to watch either way. And like Brady said, if you put a few bucks on it one way or the other, it kind of changes. And you guys know this. It kind of changes the way that you not only view the match, but you view the golfers. It kind of changes everything, Brady, which is, I'm with you. I hope that this is a big enough success that the PGA Tour and these guys will look at each other and look at it and go, you know what? We need to be having more of these, especially for over the next couple of months leading into the new season. I think it's going to be, I think this could be the future of golf. At least I hope it is, Brady.
Well, I think these guys understand that they have a vested interest in making this thing successful. Nobody wants to see Tiger beat Phil, by 8 holes and vice versa. We don't want to see a blowout here. We want to see a good competition with a lot of action and a lot of money exchanging hands to make it good for the viewers and, like you say, good for the game of golf. Tiger and Phil are not dumb businessmen.
Yeah.
So I hope it turns out that way, and we should enjoy it.
Yes, we should, and I can't thank you enough for taking some time. I know you're busy. At Las Vegas Golfer is where you will find Brady. If you plan anytime on taking a trip to Vegas and you may want to tee it up a little bit, this is the guy to hit up. He is the one that will be able to set you up on any golf course around the area. Las Vegas Golfer, that is his Twitter. He is Brady Cannon, wagertalk.com. He also appears on VSiN. He contributes there. When it comes to golf and it comes to golf betting, guys, I can tell you right now, nobody, and I mean nobody, is better than Brady Cannon. And Brady, as much as you love golf, all right, is there one particular game over Thanksgiving in the NFL that you are really, really looking at?
Yeah, you know what? I mean, Joe, is anybody going to stop the New Orleans Saints? And now they're laying 13 points this week on Thanksgiving, prime time. The Atlanta Falcons and the New Orleans Saints is typically a heck of a rivalry, and these games are always played down to the wire. We saw that earlier this year when Drew Brees actually avoided a couple of tackles and ran one in the end zone himself. That one was not decided by 13 points. I think this one might be closer than that as well. But, boy, it is so hard to go against the New Orleans Saints these days with them just routing Cincinnati and then following that up with a whitewash of the Philadelphia Eagles. Will they do it again in division against the Falcons? I'm looking forward to watching that one.
What has got I've been asking this question on social media all day, Brady. I want to get your thought on it here. So we know last night between the Rams and the Chiefs, we had I think it opened up at 65. I think it went off at 63, 63 and a half, the over-under. And I had asked last night, give me an over-under if these two teams go ahead and meet in the Super Bowl. What is the over-under if there is a rematch here? Do we make it into the 70s? And what do you do if it's New Orleans instead of, let's say, instead of the Rams? Suppose it's New Orleans and Kansas City. Are we looking at roughly the same, or does New Orleans bring an even higher expectation of scoring in a game?
Well, New Orleans' defense is probably a little bit better than either of those teams. But, yeah, I mean, I think any combination of those three teams, and, yes, you're into the 70s. I mean, what we saw last night was 105 points. So I think it's going to be very difficult for a sports book to open this thing up at anything less than, say, 72 and a half or so. I mean, again, when you have a Super Bowl, you get a lot of recreational money in a Super Bowl, and the public is going to remember what they saw last. And if it's the Rams and the Chiefs again, they're going to say, hey, we saw them do it to the tune of 105. Why isn't it going to go over 75 or whatever it is? Right. So the book is going to have to shade that matchup high because they know they're going to take a lot of overaction no matter what they set the number at.
Yep. It's going to be a lot of fun to see how this plays out over the next month and a half. That is for sure. Brady Cannon, WagerTalk.com. Make sure that you guys follow him at Las Vegas Golfer. Ever need a tee time in Las Vegas, this is the guy to go to. Hit him up at Las Vegas Golfer. Brady, I can't thank you enough for taking some time out, man. It'll be fun to see how this unplays this week here with Tiger and Phil, and then hopefully you and I will be able to get together and talk about it and talk about all the new competition and all the new matches moving forward, my friend.
I hear you. Thank you for having me on, and look forward to doing it again sometime, and happy Thanksgiving.
You too, my friend. Thank you very much. Brady Cannon, WagerTalk.com, at Las Vegas Golfer. Make sure that you guys follow him. And also, it's he brought up a couple of very good points there, Brady, about what can be considered the favorite here, because this is a golf course that Tiger Woods is very familiar with. It's also a golf course that him and Michael Jordan and Charles Barkley have played at a lot. Tiger and Freddie Couples hold the course record at this very exclusive golf course. Not so much Phil Mickelson, but Phil Mickelson is absolutely going to he is going to hold the edge when it comes to playing for money on a golf course, because Phil Mickelson's the kind of guy that'll bet on two cockroaches going across the kitchen floor. Phil Mickelson is a wheeler, he's a dealer, and this is kind of being his wheelhouse. I'm not the stories I haven't gotten on Tiger Woods being a guy that really loves the action. Michael Jordan, though, loves the action, but I'm not sure that that's where Tiger Woods' angle is. But Phil Mickelson is a guy he knows what it's like to have to sit there and go, all right, I'll make this putt for $1.5 million. That's who Phil Mickelson is. So it'll be interesting to see how this unfolds. But you heard him. Maybe the bet of the match is the best value is number one, Phil Mickelson, plus 170. That I think they're giving Tiger Woods way too much credit here. Did anybody see him in the Ryder Cup? I mean, come on. 170 plus 170 for Phil is a good bet. Also, the idea that this might go into extra holes. And this is good for golf, and these two guys understand business, so maybe, just maybe, these two guys take it for an extra hole or two, and if that's the case, I think he said it was, plus 750? So there's a lot of value in that prop bet, too. And so it'll be fun. We'll go ahead. We'll talk a little bit more about this tomorrow as we get better numbers on the props and what's going on. But as it stands right now, Tiger Woods is a big favorite, minus 200, and Phil Mickelson, plus 170, certainly has, to me, some value. And Phil Mickelson, very competitive dude. I certainly don't think he's going to lay down and we're going to get a 6 up with 5 to go. I don't think that this is what's going to happen there. But we want to thank Brady for coming by WagerTalk.com. Make sure you guys follow him at Las Vegas Golfer on Twitter. Good stuff there. And coming up, more good stuff. We've got our TrendyBets.com NBA play of the day. I don't know what to tell you guys if you haven't been following them. If you haven't headed over to TrendyBets.com and take a look at what they've got, you're leaving money out on the table. These guys have been straight fire with these free NBA picks on the show, and if you've been following them, you are up and you are smiling. For the rest of you, head over to TrendyBets.com. Make sure you use the code JRS25. That's Joe Ranieri Show 25. JRS25. You get 25% off any purchase on the site there. So if you're looking for a new sports service, want to give them a shot, want to give them a test run, see what's going on, nothing more affordable and better on a streak right now than TrendyBets.com. So head over there, TrendyBets.com, use the code JRS25, and come back here because in 2 minutes, we're going to go ahead and give you their NBA play of the day. Don't miss it. It's been straight fire. But first, of course, we've got to thank a few of our sponsors who make this all happen here on the show. Low Cost Airlines. If you are planning on going away this holiday season or maybe after the new year, don't do anything before you head over to Low Cost Airlines. Call them right now, 800-761-1427. That's 800-761-1427. The prices and the deals right now, nobody gets them better than Low Cost Airlines. Don't go to Southwest or JetBlue. Don't go directly to the airlines and pay a fortune. Go to low-cost airlines. Simply call them at 800-761-1427. And if you want to say, screw you, family, I'm going on my own cruise this holiday because you're sick and tired of not having to do what you want to do on holidays, then call Superior Cruise and Travel. Come here to South Florida. Leave Port of Miami, Port of Fort Lauderdale, Cocoa Beach, you name it. We've got the cruise. It is the cruise capital of the world. Call them at 800-901-5536. That's 800-901-5536. And, of course, if a new car or a certified pre-owned car is what you want and what you're looking for this holiday season, don't do anything before you head over to Miami Acura. Check them out, miamiacura.com, or simply call them 855-564-4669. The deals right now, unlike anything we have seen all year long, miamiacura.com. All right, coming up here in exactly 90 seconds, we've got your trendybets.com NBA play of the day. You don't want to miss it. That's next.
Dish TV is better than cable TV. Why? Because you can save 45% on packages compared to your high-priced cable bill. Wow. Take those giant scissors out and cut the cable and save with Dish TV. Plus, you get a free DVR upgrade to record your favorite shows and free installation. And with Dish Anywhere, you can watch TV for free on your mobile device. Act fast. You can save hundreds of dollars. Does your cable company do that for you? I don't think so. Get all the best TV programming at your fingertips at a fraction of the price of cable TV. So say adios, arrivederci, goodbye to the high cable bill and save up to 45% on Dish TV packages today. These are limited time offers and can change at any time. Call fast. 800-293-0328. 800-293-0328. 800-293-0328. That's 800-293-0328.
Do you use the expensive blue or yellow pills to charge your sex life? Are you thinking about it? What if we can promise you the same results for less than $3 a pill? If you're paying $20 a pill for the other pills, you're getting taken to the cleaners. Our pills deliver the exact same results for less than $3. You'll save more than $16 a pill for the same results. And right now, radio callers will get 44 blue or yellow pills for $120 with free discreet shipping. You can save more than $700 off pharmacy prices. Charge your sex life now and save a ton of money. Call now and get your 44 pills and save over $700 and qualify for free shipping. Stop overpaying and call right now.
800-764-9168. 800-764-9168. 800-764-9168. That's 800-764-9168.
Greece is cheap.
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
Not much closer, and again, airfare...
What about Puerto Vallarta?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
800-761-1427. 800-761-1427. 800-761-1427. That's 800-761-1427.
Get ready to talk sports. It's the Say It With Me podcast. Now here's your host, Joe Ranieri.
Trendybets.com play of the day coming your way here in just a minute. Do want to thank the fine folks at uwager.eu. It's where America bets. It's certainly where the Joe Ranieri Show bets. Want to thank Brady Cannon, wagertalk.com, and can't thank him enough for giving us some insight onto what is going to be a pretty damn cool match in the world of golf featuring two of the greatest ever. You're talking Tiger, you're talking Phil. It's this Friday. It's 1995, but if you know your way around any sort of technology, you'll be coding and having a good time and won't ever have to pay for it. Or very simply, if you're forced to go to a relative's house that you really don't want to be at, just make sure part of the stipulation is you got to buy the Tiger Phil thing and then go out and place a bet on it. Some great insight there. Brady knows the track in which it's being played. He had some great insight on the interview, where some of the value is for the bets. And we're all degenerates here, aren't we? We all love the action, and he gave us some great thoughts and insights there. So make sure you check out that interview as soon as we're done here. That's Brady Cannon at wagertalk.com, and we love our folks over at Wager Talk. Speaking of which, the man, yes, we got a little bit of a scheduling change happening this week because of Thanksgiving, and we certainly hope that you and yours have a very happy and safe Thanksgiving, by the way. But we had Brady on. Hopefully we're getting the captain on. It is Mac Action football tonight. So we've got the Mac Action expert. Hopefully we're going to find him, get him on for you, get his thoughts on one of the Mac Action plays tonight. But tomorrow, Ralph Michaels will join us, usually Tuesdays and Thursdays. Ralph joins us on Tuesdays. We talk a little bit about college basketball, and then on Thursday, we talk NFL and college football. So what we're going to do in light of the holiday, of course, is combine those things to you tomorrow. So we'll have a little college basketball, we'll have a little college football, and then, of course, we'll have your NFL slate of games, some thoughts, some insights from the legend himself, Mr. Ralph Michaels. That's happening tomorrow on the show at 4 o'clock, so you don't want to miss that. Also, I had told you earlier that last night's game wasn't a ratings beater. Wasn't a ratings beater at all. As a matter of fact, it only drew an 11-3 overnight. And for some context there, you see the Packers-Patriots was a 15-6 the week prior. So it's a little interesting when you think about it. Now, there were a couple of things that were going on there. Number one, the Packs and the Patriots, they were on broadcast television. ESPN last night, and those of you who are cable and cord cutters there, you might not have actually have ESPN as an option to be able to watch. So it is going to skew the numbers slightly. But the truth is that's too big a number. I mean, you're talking an 11-3 versus a 15-6, nearly 4 points in a rating is forever. And the question is why? Why would that be? And I think, yes, the cord cutting has something to do with it. I also think that you don't have the big firepower. You don't have the names. You're talking Brady and Rodgers, and you're talking about a demographic who usually watches television in this fashion, who loves their Brady and Rodgers. You're also talking about two very small market teams, meaning Kansas City, not a very big media market, number one. Also, Kansas City is not a team that is going to have across-the-country support. You're not going to see Kansas City Chiefs, or at least not many of them, here in the state of Florida or Georgia, for that matter. And the Rams, let us not forget, yes, they may be in L.A. right now, but the Rams are far from an L.A. team. They don't have that kind of mass appeal at all. People in St. Louis, they don't even want to acknowledge that team anymore. So between the both of them, when you talk Packers and you talk Patriots, let's not forget back in the early 2000s when the Patriots started their domination of this league, it wasn't like the Patriots were a national treasure when it came to ratings. People weren't you weren't going to be running into Patriot fans across the country, but here we are in 2018, and yes, you are going to run into Patriot fans all across the country. And Green Bay speaks for itself. You're going to have Packers fans for generations and generations, from all of Brett Favre fans, Aaron Rodgers fans. So I think the teams themselves, the history of the teams, play a part in why the ratings weren't what they were. But the Rams and Chiefs, a lot to be excited about with these two teams. Young head coach, you got the old school guy, Andy Reid, you got Mahomes, you got Jared Goff, but you don't have the kind of across-the-country mass appeal with those guys. Not to mention, as far as I was concerned, I thought the game was entertaining, to say the least, but I thought the game sucked from a football standpoint whenever you have whenever you have zero defense being played. Somewhere Buddy Ryan is just he's rolling over in his grave, and Ditka and anybody on the 85 Bears or the 2000 Ravens, anybody that has ever been on a team or rooted for a team that was predicated on having to play some defense, any defense, that game last night was not enjoyable. It was entertaining, but from a football point of view, it was nauseating that neither one of those two teams could figure it out. Turning the ball over, strip sacks, fumble on the 5, touchdown. Come on. You got to give me a break. That was absolutely terrible. And yes, Vari, by the way, Packers-Patriots, that was on broadcast television. It was on NBC. So that will play a part into why the ratings were not as high as they were for that game. But I think it's a bigger story. I think it's the old school Brady Rodgers. I think those two organizations have cross-country mass appeal, and I don't think the Rams and the Chiefs are there. I don't think they have fan bases outside of their local markets that travel well. I don't think it is. And plus, you had a Big 12 football game on last night, so there was nothing enjoyable from a football point of view about that game. That game was awful. Absolutely awful from a defensive standpoint. Fun to watch? Hell yeah. Very fun to watch. It just got to be laughable. Will they hit 90? No, first it started out, will they hit 80? Then it was, will they hit 90? Then it was, will they hit 100? Now, will they get 110? I mean, that was how the progression of the night went, which is nice, but I also think it's a very dangerous precedent that we're seeing in the NFL where every week it's not just maybe one game or two games a month. It's 3-4 games a week in the NFL where we're seeing 40 burgers and very just non-competitive games. Teams scoring 38, 45, 48, 50 points in a game. It's becoming more of a norm, and once that happens, I mean, how many times do I have to watch Tyreek Hill go untouched and score an 85-yard touchdown? It used to be really fun because it only happened once in a while, but now it's every damn game. It's every damn game. You got somebody breaking a touchdown and 93 yards. It's not getting to be fun anymore. I think it's a very dangerous precedent that's being set right now in the NFL, and you're throwing flags anywhere. You won't let these guys play defense, and that's a problem. That's going to be a problem moving forward, I feel. All right, your thoughts as usual, 855-983-2255 here on the Miami Acura hotline. Hit us up also in the chat rooms as you guys on a Tuesday, Thanksgiving week, but it is time for your TrendyBets.com NBA play of the day. Make sure that you guys visit TrendyBets.com and use the code JRS25. Get 25% off any purchase at TrendyBets.com. So, once again, these picks have been straight fire. They did it again yesterday. They did it twice again last week. So if you are not paying attention to these NBA plays of the day, I don't know what you're doing, guys. You're leaving money out on the table. If you're not following, or if you're not at least heading over to TrendyBets.com, you are also somebody that probably bet the under in last night's game, or didn't cash out when the spread was 3.5 for, like a week and a half, and you waited it till it got to, like Chiefs 2.5 or something along those lines. So there was money to be made last night, and there is certainly money to be made tonight with our friends from TrendyBets.com. So what is the NBA free play of the day from TrendyBets.com? Let's take a look. And, of course, it has to do with the New York Knicks. Let's see what we've got here. Portland laying 7.5 tonight, total 221 as they travel to the Garden to take on the Knicks. Here's some of the trends from Trendy Bets. We've got the Trailblazers 8-3 ATS in their last 11 overall. The Blazers are also 45-21-4 ATS in their last 70 games following a straight-up win. You got the Knicks are 1-4 ATS in their last 5 home games. They're not very good in the Garden. Mr. Fitz there, it's not going as well as they had hoped. They really did, Mr. Fitzdale there. Thought maybe he'd turn things around a little bit better, but they haven't. And also the Trailblazers, 4-1 ATS in their last 5 meetings. So what is the NBA free play of the day? Take the Trailblazers, lay in the 7.5. That's right. Take the Trailblazers, lay in the 7.5. That is your TrendyBets.com free play in the NBA of the day. And don't forget, head to TrendyBets.com. Give them a shot. Just use the code JRS25 at checkout. That's JRS, Joe Ranieri Show, 25, and get 25% off any purchase. Any purchase. It could be a day's plays. It could be a 3-day package. 7. Doesn't make a damn bit of difference. Get 25% off. Give these guys a shot. I'm telling you, they're the real deal. I use them. I would never recommend them to you guys if I wasn't going to spend my own money with them. And quite honestly, these free plays of the day have been making me all sorts of money over the last week. So write it down. Trailblazers minus 7.5 in this game tonight, all right? And that is your Trendy Bets play of the day. Exciting stuff there. Now, the captain, I understand we're getting a message from the captain, so I don't know if he is going to be able to join us here tonight. Let's see here what's going on. NIU is captain is chiming in about the name, and I'm risking a journal. I think the bottom line is captain is not caught up, and I don't think he's going to be able to show up. So no MAC action football from the captain tonight, which is unfortunate. But I do have some stats and some fun stuff for you that I will pass along in this game that you probably need to know. For instance, NIU is resting its starters because they have absolutely nothing else to play. Is that what we're being told? That's right. NIU, Northern Illinois, minus 6.5 tonight. But again, it looks like there isn't an awful lot happening from their side against Western Michigan because of the fact that we don't know if they're going to be playing most of their starters. And the matchup on paper, it's not if the starters were playing, this looks like something that might be an overplay, but there's just not much that we can tell you. We do know that Western Michigan has a pretty damn good offensive line. They've only allowed 11 sacks on the year, and we know the NIU, the Bronx there, they allow 1 sack per game, or they've been averaging at least 1 sack per game, which ranks in the top 10 nationally. So there is this could be a defensive matchup here today. So maybe the under might be the play to look, and I think that's what our friend the captain was leaning towards, although he's not really, I think from what he wrote, he's not exactly sold on it one way or the other. Some of the trends maybe that you want to know here: Northern Illinois ranking 123rd in the nation in scoring. Never finished worse than 60th, by the way, under Rod Carey. But this week they're facing that Western Michigan team that plays a different game. They score 336 points per game, but they also allow 34.5 points per game. So Northern Illinois, not exactly world beaters on the offensive side of the ball. If they start resting starters, then I wouldn't expect them to be giving an awful lot of points. Their defense is really what has kept NIU afloat this year. And what do? Do you let it ride, and do you go with the under, or do you just pass the game? Sometimes some of these plays just don't make any damn sense if it don't look good on paper, and there's enough variables in here. So if you don't know, then you don't have to go. Sometimes the best bet you can make is one that you don't make on the day, and you just decide to move on from there. The other game, I believe, is Ball State. Is that correct? Ball State, Miami, Ohio, taking on Ball State. 17.5 Miami of Ohio is laying. The over-under 54.5. And Miami, Ohio, actually, I mean, they can stay alive in the MAC East race. They can also get bowl eligible if they beat Ball State tonight. And the Red Hawks, well, they would win the division with a win, and Buffalo lost to Bowling Green, and Ohio went over Akron. All right, that's just way too confusing. So both of these teams need to win is ultimately what it is. Don't forget, last week, Ball State, Drew Plitt lit those guys up, didn't he? Right? It was his first really good performance as a starter. He went 21 of 26, 258, and 3 scores. He did throw 2 interceptions, and that game was against Western Michigan, and we know Western Michigan defensively not exactly the best. Miami, Ohio will pose the best defensive challenge in the world. They do rank 52nd in the same category when it comes to passing, so expect Ball State to be, Miami of Ohio to be a little more challenging on defense here. So will they throw it a lot? I think let's see what the trends say. Miami, Ohio, bowl eligible since 2005. Favorites, and they are a 17.5-point favorite. Favorites with a 5-6 record playing their final game of the season. They've gone 59-19 straight up and 44-32 against the spread. So, but those teams are only 15-17 against the spread since 2014. So it's not a great position to be laying that many points if you are Miami of Ohio. And under Ball State's current head coach, they have been one of the most profitable teams to the under when playing on the road, which is what they are doing now. The under, 12-5-1, 70% in Ball State road games under this coach. And they've been averaging the under by close to 4.5 points, including 4-0-1 to the under in 2018. So, A, they don't really score an awful lot, but B, they are a much better defensive team than they are offensive team. The over-under, 54.5. If you were going to make a play tonight, maybe the play should be Miami, Ohio, Ball State. Take the under at 54.5. How cool is that, right? Vari, what do you got over there? I like games when the over is almost there at halftime. Yeah, you and me both, man. This way you know exactly what you got. Some local news coming out. Breaking news, Ryan Tannehill is set to start this weekend. He is back after missing a whole bunch of games for the Dolphins. Tannehill, in fact, will be under center starting for the Dolphins. No more Brock Osweiler, and I know Dolphin fans are getting ready to cry. They're so upset that they don't have any more Brocknember. No more Brock Osweiler. Ryan Tannehill is coming back, and believe it or not, the line is moved with Ryan Tannehill now under center from -10 Colts to -9. So there you go. So things are looking things are looking up for the Miami Dolphins. Turns out -9 right now for the Dolphins. They'll be getting +9. The Colts are going to be laying 9. Colts are just on fire. Andrew Luck is healthy. T.Y. Hilton is healthy. The offensive line is getting healthier for the Colts. He hasn't been sacked in 6 games. So Andrew Luck with time to play and a healthy arm and a healthy shoulder, that could spell doom for teams in the AFC, especially for the Miami Dolphins. But they do have Ryan Tannehill back, so maybe, just maybe, they'll be able to do some damage and cover a game, but I doubt that. Ryan Tannehill ready to go. Also, you should know, this just came out too. The Yankees have had internal discussions, apparently, about signing Bryce Harper to play first base. Some are saying it's unrealistic, but Scott Boras, don't forget, is the management team that is representing Bryce Harper, so you never really know what to think about what's coming out of his mouth. But the Yankees are said to have had some internal discussions about what to do with Bryce Harper. Could you imagine? First of all, how are you going to afford? I don't even know what would the luxury tax be in that particular situation. I don't even know. I can't even imagine what that means. They're also looking at Manny Machado. Could you imagine? No, Bryce Harper, Aaron Judge, Giancarlo Stanton, Aaron Hicks, Brett Gardner, Jacoby Ellsbury, Clint Frazier. They're already in the mix. We know that. Stanton figures to be the primary DH. What are you going to do with Greg Bird? He can't stay healthy. We know Harper is an outfielder, but Scott Boras has said and indicated that he'd be willing to entertain the idea of moving to first base. Now, theoretically, at least on paper, that improves his fit with the Yankees. They've got a boatload of outfielders, but if he's willing to play first base, hell, Yankees will take him. I mean, well, Harper's the kind of guy that you're going to make a room for regardless, and you can get rid of everybody else. So even if that means reducing Brett Gardner's role, then you do that. But that said, first base seems like the biggest concern for the Yankees right now. They did sign James Paxton. I think they figured out a trade with the Seattle Mariners. They took their ace, James Paxton. I think he won 20 games this year, and they are said to be looking at 2 more big-name free agents for the starting rotation. So they are trying to figure out how is it that we can get some competent starting pitching to go along with the bats that we have. We've already got some hot stove stuff going on. Can you believe it? Yankees are in the discussion trying to figure out how it is that they can catch the Red Sox and the Astros, who aren't going anywhere. They're young, they're good, they're well-managed, they're well-disciplined, and the Yankees, who won 100 games, pretty much got embarrassed by the Red Sox, and I think ultimately we figured out in the end that the Red Sox are just way too much for the American League and quite possibly, the National League too as well. But it'll be who's going to win the Harper sweepstakes, who's willing to write that very ridiculous luxury tax check that's going to require the team to do once they sign Bryce Harper. It remains to be seen. All right, you guys rock. I want to get into I'll actually wait till tomorrow, though, because I do have a rant that I want to go on. And I told you about how I'm not really thrilled about the whole lack of defense in the NFL right now. I think it's killing the game. I don't think it's hurting it. But I do have a topic of conversation that I want to cover tomorrow with Ralph Michaels, who will join us from Wager Talk. We're going to talk college basketball, as well as NCAA football, and we're also going to talk some NFL games, including the 3 that are going to be on Thanksgiving. But I've got a bone to pick with sports handicappers on social media, and we'll get into that tomorrow. I promise you don't want to miss it. But I do want to thank our friends over at halftimemagic.com, wagertalk.com. Don't forget trendybets.com. Make sure that you guys head over there, get it going, all right? Use the code JRS25. Give them a shot. If you're just joining us and you missed it, here is the Trendy Bets NBA free play of the day. They like the Trailblazers laying 7.5 against the Knicks tonight. Total 221. Their play, Trailblazers minus 7.5, and they have been straight fire with these free plays. So good luck to you tonight. Enjoy yourself. Join us tomorrow as Ralph Michaels stops by, but do make sure that you get to trendybets.com. Unfortunately, we didn't get the captain here tonight, but it doesn't look like he was all sorts of thrilled with the 2 MAC games anyway, but we'll catch up with him again after Thanksgiving. You guys have a great night. Thanks once again for making us a part of it. Tomorrow, Ralph Michaels, we make you some money. Have a great night. We'll talk to you then.